Okay, we're just going to make sure that this audio problem is isolated to the music before we get started. Okay, it is. I'm going to leave the background music off for now. We know the audio works, and I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Well, greetings. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it might be. Greetings, salutations, all those good things. Hi, this is PhotoJoseph, and this is going to be a totally different type of show than I planned on doing just a few hours ago. So, first of all, let's just get a little sound check, make sure that everybody can hear and see me. Okay, I know we had a little bit of a. It was weird. My background music is playing strange. I don't know. Maybe I just need to reboot the the iPod, or reboot the ATEM. I'm really not sure. But let's just get a quick little hello in the chat room, and let's just see what's going on in here. Let me close this out, and actually I'm not going to close that, move that over here. Let's see what's going on in the chat. There is almost nobody here, which is always a bit disconcerting. My goodness. Oh, good. Okay, there's somebody here. Audio's great. Jason, Papa, good to see you. I guess everybody's got something else to do today because there's like nobody here this morning. Well, I'm going to start with a little story about how today's show is going to go, the background for today's show, and we'll see if some more people show up. So late last night, we're talking, I'm about to fall asleep. There's a little thing that goes off my head that goes, there's something important happening, something tomorrow. Oh, right, the S5 embargo lifts tomorrow morning. Oh, yeah, at like 7 a.m. Pacific time. Okay, good. So, good to know. What am I going to do? I've got a live show, so I guess I'm going to do a live show about that. I haven't really prepared anything. And I know that there are some other YouTubers that have gotten the S5 camera in advance, and they're going to be able to do shows on them, which is awesome. You know what? I wonder if privacy set to members. That's why there's almost nobody here. Oh my goodness. Okay, well let's just change that. That's the problem. Oh my goodness. Okay, public, save. All right, well, give me a second here, my couple of members that were watching, and allow me to to tweet this out that it is now going out properly. That was really not too clever of me. Also, I almost forgot I need to do that. There we go. And let's see here. Wow, that was a super genius move there. So let's just go into my channel and grab this live show and let people know about it. Do me a favor if you're watching, because obviously you are, you wouldn't be hearing me. Tweet it, share it, post it, tell people the show is live, because I totally screwed that up and managed to make that somehow a private event. Whoops. Okay, tweeting now. Okay, that is twatted. That's out. We'll give people a few minutes. Again, for those of you watching, please do tweet and push. Greetings, Curtis Brooks Media Productions. Good to see you here. Thank you for that. So we're going to give people a few minutes. I do apologize for that, for those of you who are expecting a quick show. But if you were expecting a quick show, you wouldn't be here, would you? Well, hey, you guys who are the private members, you are the only ones here at the moment. So if you got any questions, now's a good time to get them out, because we're going to totally derail any plans that we might have had for today at some point. So go ahead and let us know what you got retweeted. Thank you, Jason. And let's see here. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Whoops, how did that happen? That is so bizarre. When I set up the live event this morning, okay, now I got some more people coming in. When I set up the live event this morning, I'm sure I set it public. You know what was really weird is when I first set it up, even though I did load a custom thumbnail, it was insisting on showing my old thumbnail from the previous show. And then finally that kind of refreshed at some point. So I wonder if that has something to do with it. Man, what a mess. What an absolute mess. All right, I'm going to do one more little tweet on there, just to be sure. Please RT for those who normally watch the show. We are live. Just messed up the visibility of the visibility of the live show. Wow, I can type today. Live show. It's hard to type and talk and I don't know, do everything else at the same time. Okay. And live now. Let's go live now. Let's go live now. There we go. All right, tweeting again. Let's see if we get some more people there. We got some more rolling in. So for those of you who just rolled in, I realized after I started the show and there was hardly anybody here, there were only a few people, that I had somehow accidentally set up the show to be for members only, which was never my intention. Don't quite know what happened there, but we're good. It's all rolling now. People are starting to roll in. So let me tell the story of today's show and how it came to be, which is a complete and total departure from what it was going to be just a matter of hours ago. And definitely a departure from what it was going to be last night. So I had last night, as I was falling asleep, going to bed, I'm like, yeah, what's going on? There's something tomorrow. Something tomorrow I need to, oh, right. The LUMIX S5 embargo lift is tomorrow morning. I've got a live show. Great, I can talk about it on the live show. Okay, run it through my head. These are the things I got to do. My new broadcast studio-ish setup is largely done. There was a bunch of stuff moved into its space because I had to do another shoot in here late last week. So I came in at 5 o'clock this morning and moved all that out of the way and got that re-rigged, so it is ready. We're actually going to go out there in a little bit here. Thought, I know what I'll do. I'll do an unboxing of the S5 and then go through the features on it. That'll be good because, you know, it's new and that'll be awesome. And then, so I came in, started prepping for that. Like I said, 5 o'clock this morning, get everything set up. And then at some point, I realized, oh no, it was at 7 o'clock as the embargo lifted. A couple of videos popped up. A video from Caleb Pike about the S5, a video from Sarah Dici about the S5. And I went, oh, right. This is, I think, the first launch of this scale that Panasonic has handled this way, where they've gotten the S5 out to a bunch of YouTubers way bigger than me. And I didn't have a video prepared for launch because I've been working on a lot of other stuff, some of which I'm going to show you. And somebody says the audio volume is quite low. Let me just double check my levels and make sure that it looks good on my end and that it's not just you. My levels are looking good, my friend. So turn it up on your side is all I can say. Tenzin. And so I see all these videos start popping up. And Gerald Undone did one. Max Yuriev did one. The Northrop's did one. There's like a ton of videos popping up. I'm going, oh, and I'm watching Caleb's. And Caleb's is, I watch Caleb's video. Absolutely. I haven't even watched the other ones yet except for Max's. Max's is really interesting because he's comparing autofocus to the Sony A7R III. I think that's right. The S5 does very, very well, which is very exciting. Caleb goes through all the specs, including the very, very cool feature that will be coming that will be 5.9K raw output into a Ninja 5, just like you can do with the S1H. That's pretty crazy on this little S5 baby camera. So that's pretty awesome. Anyway, so I see all these videos popping up and I'm like, oh, right. There's all these other YouTubers who've been spending all this time making this really good video. Like, it's probably not that useful for me to do one of these videos kind of off the top of my head, and I might get some features wrong. And okay, scratch that. I can still do the unboxing because that's kind of cool. I've got a new box. You'll see. Well, we're going to open it up and see what's in there. But what else I could do is I could show you the HDR color grade that I did. You see, I've been planning a video for a long time that hasn't happened yet for lots and lots of reasons I won't go into now, about HDR color grading. I have spent an inordinate amount of time researching this, learning this, buying the gear for it. I am now fully equipped, as you will see shortly. In fact, here I can give you a little sneak preview now. As you will see shortly here, I am fully equipped for doing an HDR color grade. And to the point where I ended up doing the HDR color grade for the S5 launch, for the launch video. So let me actually pull that video up, if I can find it in here real quick, because obviously you're not going to be able to see it in HDR through here. What you see here will just be an SDR down conversion. But if you get a chance to, if you can watch this in full HDR on an HDR TV, you should definitely do that. So let me just pull this up a little bit real quick so you know exactly what you're looking for. And so here, I've tweeted this. Let's just switch over to my screen here. And I have tweeted this. Where's my tweets? I never figure out where things are in profile. Here we go. Tweets. All those. Thank you everybody for retweeting that. These are all the videos that have been out this morning. So look, you got Sarah Dietschy's and you've got Caleb Pike and Gerald Undone and Potato Jet, right? I haven't watched his yet. Kai Wong did one. His are always entertaining. Max Yuryev's is up. So there's a bunch of these videos up. They're all posted up on my YouTube. But I put it in this tweet. No, this tweet? I swear I tweeted it this morning. I swear I did. This video, here it is. This is the one. Let's open this up. So this video, I did not shoot this. I just did the grade on it. We'll just pause that here. This video is of a glass blowing facility, factory, whatever you call it, of glass blowers. And so it's kind of like really prime for HDR. And of course shot on the S5 by Todd White, one of the other LUMIX ambassadors. And I had the privilege of doing the HDR color grade for this. So that's something that I've been working on for this launch. I didn't do an actual video for it. So I thought I will show you how I did this video. Not like a super deep on it, but I want to give you some of the overview. And I'm going to give you some of the overview that I've been planning for the bigger HDR video, which just hasn't happened yet for blah, 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 various reasons. But we are going to start with a little bit of an unboxing. So here's what's going to happen. We are currently in my studio, as always. I am fully set up to switch over to the other room. In fact, let me get the comments up on the iPad so I can take that with me and take all of you all with me. And let's see here. It says that is my current live stream. Let's not have that play through AirPlay. And good, I disconnected it. And ooh, YouTube did not like that. Disconnected the HDMI and YouTube did not like that. Okay, there we go. There we go. All right, we've got the chat up. Let's just double check this chat is here, is there, is everywhere. Not too many people here today, but that is okay. That is okay. For those of you that are here, you get the good show. All right, so here's what's going to happen. I am going to switch over to the outside cameras with this microphone. So right now, I should do a whole behind the scenes about this thing is set up because it's kind of cool. But right now, you're on a mic up here. You're about to switch over to the lav mic and switch over to the other cameras, which I need to switch back to the right ATEM. So here, I'll just show you this. We are currently looking at the ATEM this is the ATEM Mini. That's what we're looking at right now. I'm going to switch this connection over to the big ATEM and pull up the macros on that. And here they are off screen. And I'm going to run this one right here. This is ATEM 2ME plus audio, and it's going to switch over to the exterior camera and my lavalier. And just like that, there it is. All right, so let's head out there and get this thing started. So my plan is also to do a little re-editing on this later, so I'm going to hit record on the two cameras that are out here. You can see I was completely Not fully set up yet. Oh boy. Okay. Before we do this, even S5 right there. You know, one of these days I'm gonna have to start wearing glasses all the time. I like these glasses. I like the look. These are not. I get a little bit of reflection from the side lights, but it's okay. But I'm not gonna wear this today. This is the new setup. Just a quick little brief tour of this. This is clearly not done yet. You have seen the wider view where you see the server rack, and that will be part of the show when I'm doing shows about live streaming stuff. For a show like this, where it's not about the live streaming, I've zoomed in a bit tighter and moved the camera over a little bit, so that camera's on wheels, I can move that. The background here is just a painted gray right now, but the lighting here is a whole bunch of these. And I just want to tell you about these real quick. These are from Nanlite, and these are called PhotoJoseph. And Nanlite was very kind enough to supply the lighting for this show. So I will be doing a show about this once everything is rigged up. But there are 3 PhotoJoseph up right now. There is a 4-foot and a 4-foot and a 2-foot right here. So I got a box around me. And what's really cool about this lighting like this is that it's only this big. So instead of having a big, huge bank, a big softbox that's taking up all the space, it is just a ring of lights around me, which is really, really cool. Brightness controlled, RGB, color temperature, all that. And then I got 2 more of these, which the plan with these, let's see, is it, yeah, it's set to RGB. Let's turn this, that's all right. So this is RGB, I think it's on a cycle right now. Yeah, it's on a cycle. So these are gonna go like this, I think. Like mount these here and just have some kind of color splash on there, but then they're removable so I can do other stuff with them. You can see they're obviously battery operated. You can pretend you're, you know, Roberto, if you were watching right now, I just saw your tweet about making lightsaber sounds. Pretty cool stuff. My kids over there are like, what is Dad doing? But that is pretty cool. That's going to be a lot of fun. So that's that lighting setup. Thank you again to Nanlite for this. This is going to be cool once it's all set up. I just got to finish doing that. I got to decide too if I'm going to paint this a darker gray. Not really sure. Anyway. Let's see if there's anything in the comments before I start opening this little box right here. Aaron says, nice wall, thank you. Awkward outlet placement. I know, you know, you guys are picking on me. I know this, well, first of all, I can't just remove it, but I have a plan to do something with it. Don't worry. Cat. Bart was giving me a hard time about that last week. I'm not done. Jeez, guys. All right, let's see here. Anything else on there? Jake, greetings. Good to see you, my friend. Lars and Andy says, off topic, but okay, we'll pick up some off topic stuff later. So we've got this set up. Let me switch over to this control so that I can switch over to the overhead. There we go. We've got the overhead. See, does this feel familiar? This is kind of the old school way, man. This is the way it used to be with the camera and the overhead camera. And I had more, which I don't have now, but I had more cameras in the old setup. But this setup is a complete 180 from the way it was before. It's just everything's different, but it's kind of fun. Anyway, should we get into this thing? Let's get into this thing. Let's just take a look at the S5 box and see what's in here. So I'm going to move these out of the way, and let's just do this thing, shall we? So the typical, open that, and open that. And okay, I have actually opened this before, but we're going to pretend that I haven't. The instructions, thank you, very Vanna, very instructions. All the important information that you might need. Inside of here, we will eventually find the camera. So let's just get that out. Wow, some fans just went crazy over there. Let's get the camera out, and let's get the lens out. This is the new 20-60 lens. Very exciting. Let's make sure that doesn't roll off the table. That'll be good. And you also have in here a lens shade. And let's see, I probably should move this so you can actually see things in here. We have a strap, of course. We have USB A to C. We have the battery, which is a cool new battery. We're going to take a look at that. You have the battery, the AC wall wart outlet, and the battery charger piece. Okay, so that is everything there. Now, let's get this thing rolling. What I need to do is actually run over and grab a GH5 to compare this to, because the size of this thing, actually, you know what, before I even do that, just give me, wait, I gotta, my GH5s are all in use, but that's not why. Can I reach it from here? I think I can. Oh yeah, I can do this. Oh, good to know. This is handy. I might need to do this at some other show. I'm just going to pull a GH5 off of my other setup in here, and let's unplug this from the AC connection that it's on. There we go. And let's head back over here, and just take that lens off. Nocticron, still my favorite. One of my favorites. All right, GH5. We've all seen the GH5. Let's lay this down like this. There is the GH5. Let's go for that overhead view in there. That's the GH5. Should we go a little bit closer? Should we get that camera a little bit closer there? That's the wrong way. Let's get a little bit closer there. There we go. Is that focused? I think it's focused. We're gonna double check that. Ah, live. I miss doing complex live. A little bit dark, isn't it? I'm gonna bring the. Nah, it's a little bit too bright. Well, we're gonna have to fix that in post later. Okay, so there you go. There is the GH5. This is the S5. I mean, here's the fun thing about this, right? Look at that. and slightly larger sensor hole, slightly larger sensor, slightly larger lens hole, but it is literally the same, or even technically possibly a smaller camera. If I do a side-by-side here, I've seen people say it's smaller. I'd have to do a full-on comparison, sizing, and so on, but that is remarkable. I mean, this is pretty cool. So this, size of that thing, that is the S5. That is the brand new full-frame LUMIX camera that is basically a baby S1H, or if you prefer, a full-frame GH5. That is the 20 to 60 lens that it can come with. I don't actually know if you'll be able to buy it as a kit or both body only and without a lens. It probably is, but this is the kit. That's the 20 to 60, which is a really nice focal length of a lens. 20 millimeter, remember, it's full frame, so no more multiplying. So it's a 20 millimeter to 60 millimeter, which is really a very nice compact size and makes for an ideal vlogging style camera. So if you're going to do kind of a vlogging style with this, you got your full flip out LCD, of course, you go full 20 wide and off we go. Now I don't have this set up to wire it into the switching system. I know that's something I used to do. I'll have to get that back one of these days. But that is the S5 as a vlogging camera. Now the autofocus on this thing is way better than you would expect it to be. The Max Uria's video will show that to you. It's really quite impressive. It does its best at 4K 60 in the APS-C mode. In Max's video, he shows as he goes down to full frame at 24p because A, it's processing more data at full frame, and B, it's got less frames to sample focus from, 24 versus 60, that it is not as good, but at 4K 60 in APS-C, it is truly remarkable, and in Max's video, believe it or not, it beats out the Sony in almost every test that he does, which is kind of insane. So it's the focus is definitely getting a lot better on these things. The battery, this is kind of a funky new battery, and this is kind of a cool thing. Let me open this and show you. So let's go back to the overhead. Back to that overhead view. Let me actually see if I can zoom in a little bit closer on there. There we go. So this has two, and that is definitely not in focus. Let me pull up that camera. So I've got focus control through the switcher, but it is definitely not the most reliable thing in the world. See, and this is where I'm like this. This is where I got to go get my glasses. Where did I put my glasses? I totally lost here. It's crunched under everything else. And I look at my focus screen and see, is that actually in focus? All right, switch back over to the overhead. Oh yeah, that's. I think that's sharp. That's sharp. Anyway, so here's the deal. Contacts there, just like you would see on any GH5 battery. It's actually the same size as a GH5 battery, but it's got this extra set of contacts, which is quite interesting. Don't actually know exactly what that is for, what that means. You can use these in a GH5. I think that's the case. Let's actually find out. We're going to try that right now, since I happen to have a GH5 with me. Slide in, door closes, and the camera power's on. There you go. Look at that. Camera power's on, so you can use this to power a GH5. However, it is you cannot go the other way. You cannot take the GH5 batteries and put them into the S5. Oh. Interesting, interesting. Learn something every day. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. It's overall, it is a full frame, pocket size. Okay, not pocket size, but full frame, very small camera, capable of 4K 60, 4K 30, 4K 60 is APS-C, 4K 30 is still full frame. I believe that is correct. With in a future update, 5.9K raw output to the Ninja 5, which is just insane. So it is, again, very much a baby S1H or a full-frame GH5, depending on how you want to look at it. It comes with Vlog internal. There's no need to buy that separately. It has Vlog built into it, and a whole bunch of other features, which I'm just going to say, go watch Caleb's video on because he's covered all of them in so much detail. So that is everything I want to do there. Let me take a quick look at the questions, and then I will head over to back into the other room. And some people saying these levels are kind of quiet. Ooh, I'm looking at good levels here. I don't want to bring them up anymore because I'm afraid that might peak stuff out. I apologize if you're not getting good levels. I didn't have a whole lot of testing here, but I am looking at good levels on my end, and I really am reluctant to bring those up any higher. Actually, I wonder, you know what, maybe I could do. Let me take a quick look at something else. maybe it's just the stream that is quiet. Let's see here, where are we looking? How is the audio coming in? Audio is coming in over HDMI 4K audio. Nope, that's the wrong one. Not HDMI, SDR. I'm looking at my, hey kid. I'm looking at my inputs. Oh, here we go. ATEM mini audio, ATEM HDMI audio. No, we had all these. Oh, is it analog? Oh yeah, feeding in analog audio. There we go. Analog. Oh yeah, no, those levels are looking good here too. So, yeah, I definitely don't want to bring these up any higher, just because I'm afraid that it might hurt some other people. So sorry about that. Levels sound good to Jake. Levels are fine. Okay, so Morris, who was saying about the audio levels, sounds like it's you, buddy. Sorry about that. Okay. This is good. Let me put this back on here so I don't get a dusty sensor. And let's go back into the other room, shall we? What do you think of the new setup? It's coming together. It's kind of cool. All right, let's go back to the other room. I need to, I'll switch it when I get in there. All right, bring this with me and let's go. Let's do it. All right. Oh, I guess I need to switch this. There we go, switched, and we are back. We are on. Probably helps if I bring that up instead of the switcher, and we are good. All right, so here's the story of the color grade in HDR. So Todd White, who shot it, he shot and edited the piece and did his own SDR color grade. And that was delivered to me, that final project was delivered to me to do the HDR grade. The challenge that we were facing from the beginning was that he edits in Premiere, and of course I'm using Final Cut Pro. So we knew that that was going to be part of the challenge. And there are ways to get the project over. It's funny because Premiere has an export for, well, in fact, I think I just bring this up because I did do this. Yeah, I've got this up on my screen. I'm not a Premiere user, but this is Premiere. If Premiere does have a export to Final Cut Pro XML, that will not get read by Final Cut Pro 10. Here's the thing, Final Cut Pro XML, it turns out, is Final Cut 7 XML, you know, a 12-year-old XML language. Like, come on, guys, please. So that doesn't work. Now, there is an app that's on the App Store that will convert that XML into Final Cut Pro 10 XML. Great, so I run that, and there were two projects. This is the one that we released, the other one we didn't release. But there are two projects. And the first one that I moved over was all slow motion. So everything had been shot in camera at 4K 60 and then conformed to 4K 2398 on the timeline in Premiere. None of that translated over. So I ended up having to match it shot by shot. And that's what I was trying to do. I was having such a hard time doing it. And I'm like, fortunately it's a short edit, so this isn't the end of the world, but man, this is a pain. And this project, this one here, had a lot more edits to it. Editing this shot by shot definitely did not sound like it was going to be a good idea. But it translated over mostly fine, basically everything except for the slow motion shots. And as I was trying to match the slow motion shots, I went through all this stuff and just nothing was working right, and I wasn't getting a frame accurate edit. And finally it occurred to me that the right solution here was not to try to do the edit that way, but to go back into Premiere, strip off all of his color grades, all of his titling, any effects, basically anything that he had done outside of the edit and speed effects. Oh, he had a warp stabilization on a couple shots, so I left that in there. And then export out the entire Premiere timeline as a ProRes file. So it's ProRes on the timeline. He was shooting in, well, for this project, it was shot to a Ninja, so it was all shot ProRes. ProRes 422 4K 60 log, of course. And is that right? I got everything there? I think I got it all. And then take that and export out as a ProRes file. So there shouldn't be any downgrading, shouldn't be any conversion happening. It's just ProRes to ProRes. But this way I have his single timeline. And then I took that into Final Cut as a single video track and then went through shot by shot and put a slice. If he had dissolves in there, I had to remove the dissolves so I could do a clean cut between shots and then re-add the dissolve in Final Cut. But that's how I ended up doing it, which is not an ideal workflow, I gotta say. Premiere, it would be really nice if Premiere would have an actual Premiere to Final Cut workflow that worked, but it doesn't, and so this is what I had. But, you know, it took a day to put it all together, but once I got it together, it was all together. So now what I wanna show you is what this looks like in Final Cut Pro. So let me actually back up a little bit and just show you this setup here. So this is my current rig. It's a little bit wild. It's a little bit crazy, but 32-inch BenQ display. That's actually about to get, it's just a little LG, but it's about to get replaced by another BenQ display, slightly bigger, I think 27-inch, that's 24. And these are my two main grading monitors. Over here, I've got a Sumo 19. This is the Atomos Sumo, this is the 19M, so it's not the recorder, it's just the monitor, which is a 1000 nit grading monitor. This is 4-color grading, it's HDR, let's put that in HDR. It's touchscreen, as you just saw in there. It has scopes. It has all kinds of cool stuff on here. So this is pretty sweet. Turn that microphone towards me a little bit better. This is a pretty sweet setup in here. So this is what I'd been working with for a while, and you're not going to be able to see it on frame, but all the way over here is an Ultra Studio, Blackmagic Ultra Studio. Now that is the way that you have had to do HDR grading. And that Ultra Studio was by far the most cost-effective box that you could do this with. It's $1,000. The Aja ones are like $3,000, and you can spend more than that. But that was the most cost-effective way to do HDR color grading until macOS 10 Catalina 10. It was one of the updates. 10. It's not this one. What did we're at 10.15.6. I think it was like 10.15.4 or 3. I don't remember. Anyway, with some version of Catalina, you can actually now. This is insane, and I will do a full extensive video about all this eventually. You can now use this little adapter right here. This, and you got to use the Belkin one. It doesn't work with the Apple one. Don't ask me why. Seems ridiculous. Use the Belkin one. Thunderbolt 3 out to or USB-C out to HDMI. Then you plug this into any HDMI monitor, like this big fat 55-inch LG that I got at Costco. Right. This is a Costco LG, and the LG is insane. It's like amazing. But you plug that into it. The Mac sees it as just as another display, but this is the trick. Here's the little fun bit. Let me go into the computer settings here. So this BenQ is actually an HDR display, and so just like the second one is not. If I do pull over the LG, so the LG is not HDR, so we don't see an HDR option here. The BenQ is an HDR display. Just like this, you will see this for the LG, and you click that little checkbox. And here, I don't think you'll be able to see this, but if I do this and I do that, you're going to see that monitor go off. And then in a moment here, a little HDR indicator is going to come up here. There it is, says HDR on. And we're now viewing this in HDR. Now, the limitation here with the BenQ HDR display is that it is 400 nit. I think that's right. Your standard screen is 100 nit. This one is 400 nit. The Sumo 19 is 1000 nit. The LG is actually only 700 nit. But I'm telling you, this thing looks way brighter. Maybe it's just because it's so much bigger. I don't know. But my God, this LG is incredible. So being able to edit while, first of all, seeing a much better approximation of HDR on the editing screen than you would with a standard monitor. So there's step one. Having something like the Sumo where theoretically I get something very, very accurate, which you can also color calibrate. I've never done. But then outputting to the LG is just phenomenal. Now again, the way I've got this, if I go into here and I go into Final Cut, I can turn off my external displays, and that takes both of those out, turn that back on, and there we go, they're on. And then this happens. So weird. And that's great because I already have the Ultra Studio. But you don't have to spend that. You can now buy this, which was $30, $50, something like that, instead of $1,000. It's kind of insane. So I will be doing a full video on this. It's eventually. But now I just get to show you a little bit and piece of it. So I wanted to kind of give you that introduction. But since I've got the Ultra Studio, I've already had the Sumo, this whole thing is all rigged up together. So when I'm editing, this obviously gives me a pretty phenomenal way to look at the project. Now this monitor is literally so big, it's too big. I kind of have to, I've angled this better for this shot. But it's still literally too large to be in here. I want to get a smaller version to take this home because it's really nice. But for what it is right now, it's pretty amazing to be able to look over here and see this in HDR. And here's kind of a cool thing. Let's see here. I've got that wide shot up. We know it's HDR because we'll get an HDR logo up here. Let me make sure the volume's all the way down so I don't blast anything out on here. If I switch over to Netflix, for example, and then switch back, to the Mac, we should see, there it is, the HDR logo that comes up. So we know that we are getting the HDR flags, the HDR metadata flags are coming through on here. And you'd get that same thing using this little box, which is just incredible, really incredible. Okay, so with that all said, now let's take a little look at the Final Cut timeline. I just want to show you a little bit about what it's like to grade in HDR here in Final Cut. So again, the process that I had to go through was, this is all one single export, one single file that I have simply put little slices in and then done the grade on. So here are my scopes. You can see that I'm in a Rec 2020 space. So to start, the first thing we have to do, and I guess I should probably, let's see here. Oh yeah, I was gonna do that. I should probably get rid of the secondary space and bring this all into one space for you. So you have to make your library HDR. So I've got a library here. I go to the modify menu, click on this, and it has to be in wide gamut HDR. That is kind of step one on there that you're gonna have to do. So that's already set. And then the project is, let's see this one here. There's my project, Glassworks, that's the one. Open up the project settings, and the project has to be set to wide gamut. In this case, it's Rec 2020 PQ. PQ is the format that we're using. This is, I honestly, I don't know when you'd use straight 2020 HLGs if you shot in HLG, but if you shot in Vlog for HDR grading, PQ is where you want to be. It is a 4K 2398 project, and that's all there is to that. So once you've done that, now I'm going to get rid of the browser here, get that off of this screen. Once you've done that, your RGB parade turns out to show 10,000 nits instead of just 100 nits, which is a whole lot. Thing is that we don't grade for 10,000, we grade for 1,000. 1,000 is kind of your standard right now. I actually wish in Final Cut that you could just hide everything above 1,000, just give me a little bit more space in here. You can see the growth though. It's 0 to 10 is this huge range here, 10 to 100 is this range here, 100 to 1,000, and then 1,000 to 10,000. It's kind of interesting how that's divided up, but to 1,000 is what I want to grade to, so I usually would put that there just to kind of remind myself that's where I'm grading to. And we can see a little bit of clipping here, but that's just this window over here. And at this point, it's not really different than grading anything else. You just have a whole lot more room to grow. And in this case, you can go in, just like other grading, you can go in and you can apply LUTs to these. Let's see here, do I have, not basic, what am I doing? I want, is it under EXIF or extended? Why is my screen not set up the way it's supposed to be? There we go. Camera LUT. So you can set your LUTs in here. When I did the video on how to do RAW on the LUMIX S1H, I talked a lot about this workflow and adding the camera LUT. So this isn't RAW. So if it was RAW, there'd be the RAW to log conversion. Then you can do the log to Rec 709. In here, you can do that same thing. Well, not with the RAW, but with the LUT. I can go in here and apply a LUT to Panasonic Vlog LUT, which basically brings it to Rec 709. I don't like doing that though. I like grading from the log shot. That's just my preference. So if I turn off my color wheels, there's the base shot. That's what we started with, and you can see how much flatter that is here. Turn that back on, and there's what we've got. And this is a pretty simple shot. I don't think there's no additional anything happening in here. This one's pretty straightforward. I'm see if I can find one that's got more going on in it, because some of these shots I ended up doing a bit more. Let's see, multiple secondaries. Oh yeah, here you can see as well, this is kind of, let me zoom out of this to show this. This is the interview. So you see the interview with the chap right there. He's in there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I put a adjustment layer on here, which ironically, I'm not going to Final Cut, they don't have adjustment layers. They do, it's just not built in. You have to add it, but it's free, off you go. Anyway, so what I've got in here is that adjustment layer over him, just to make sure that his shot is always the same, and if I change anything in his, it changes on all of them. But then other than that, every single one of these shots is graded individually. And so I am just switching through this real quick, looking for one that's got multiple grades on it. So each one, there's a good one. Each one is, of course, different, but each shot is tweaked individually. But in this one here, I have multiple grades going on. So let's see, I think it was just masking out, yeah, that window that was quite dark in there, or quite bright, I mean, brought that down a little bit within range. That's just a secondary on there with a little secondary mask on there. Oops, let's go here. And you can see the mask. Turn that mask off, it would grade the whole thing. So that was just about pulling down that window. But anyway, this is basically what it was, shot by shot, doing the color grade, looking at the scopes up to 1,000 nits, monitoring the whole thing, both on the Sumo, which is technically more accurate. However, this is really where I want to look, because this is where I can really, really see things. And again, I know you can't appreciate this on the SDR live screen that you're looking at now. So if you have the ability, if you have the ability to look at this, to watch this video in HDR, please do it for me. Go to the HDR, go to the YouTube app on your HDR television, because if you got an Apple TV, it's not going to play HDR through there. Go to the native HDR, the native YouTube app, and pull up this video. It is, let's see here, let me show you exactly where it is. Let's pull that back up on my screen here. If I can find it. I've got like 500 tabs open now. It is not that window or that window. There it is. This is it. It is called, it's on the Panasonic LUMIX video channel. It is LUMIX S5, The Art of Glass Blowing with Gail Allard by LUMIX Ambassador Todd White. I will pop this into the chat for those of you who are watching live as well. And with that said, I think that is a good opportunity, let's prop that in, to do a little chat. Join here, there's a little chat sharing, a little chat show, and see what's going on. All right. What is happening in here? Not a whole lot in the chat room today. That's okay. Making the show private to begin with is a really bad idea. If you got questions about HDR, now's a good chance to drop those in. Again, I will do a proper video on that eventually later, but let's just see what people are asking in here. Andy Wilson says, off topic, but either in here or in the future, could you talk about how blown out, overexposed the images are when using the ATEM to display computer screen? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's an easy fix, actually. So it's a color profile thing. So I've shown this in here before. Let me do this. Let me go back to this and do this and pull something up here off of my desktop. I'll show that to you. Actually, I've got it right. I've got a screenshot for this because it's such an important thing. Oh, there goes my system. Okay. This is the screenshot that I took. This is the color profile you want to use. SMPTE RP4312 2007 DCI-P3. So here's the deal. You go into your monitor settings. Here's your Blackmagic monitor that is connected to my ATEM, right? Go to color, and it is set to that. And so this is what you're seeing. If I can change this right now, and you'll see the difference. So if my system is being very strange right now. If I go to standard, it is going to change quite a bit. See, it's quite a bit darker. Gamma's really shifted and weird. Scroll back down and find the right one. That opposite effect of that, but that's the profile you want to use, the color profile. Use that, and you will be much happier. So please do try that. All right, back to the chat. And let's see here. Somebody else saying streaming audio levels seem low, and other people are saying it's great. Well, can't mess with it now, so sorry. Crank up your volume. About all I can tell you. Jason, love the new setup, getting vibes from the old setup, totally. Can you add the link to the chat about the Belkin dongle? Yes, let's do that. Let me, very quick, I'll just open it. I've got that on Amazon, so let me find that in my previous orders. Orders, hello. Orders, there we go. Belkin, here it is. So this is it. 50 bucks, $48, that was it. USB-C to HDMI. So let me just drop that into the chat for you. What my kid is doing out there. Sometimes these things scare me. Back into the chat, and there you go. There is the link to that. Anything else? Where are we on time? We're doing good on time. I've actually recorded everything here, recording it in this camera. If things look a little bit different today, it's because this is in log. Actually, that's a good point. I wonder if when I change something in the camera there, my audio levels change. Let's just take a little look here. And yeah, I guess the audio levels do look a little bit low on this one. Yeah, darn it. All right, let's bring that up just a little bit there and see if that makes any difference. When I was out in the other one, it was looking fine from my end, but you know, who knows? There are so many steps of audio levels that need to be checked. And like I said this morning, I really threw together this change, like rigging up the camera over my shoulder, running time code into all these cameras using the UltraSync 1. So I've got to make sure that I can easily sync things later. This is kind of cool. I have an UltraSync 1 plugged into the ATEM. So here you can see this. This isn't something you see every, the right ATEM. So output timecode generator, you see it's got a little lock on here. This is getting synced timecode from the generator. The generator is on the Ninja behind me, which is that's actually the S1H. So that shot, that angle is, that's an S1H with a 20 millimeter Viltrox lens on it. Into the Ninja 5, not RAW, just ProRes, into the Ninja 5 in 4K. and then that is outputting 1080p, which is going into the switcher here so that I can switch back and forth on here. So that Ninja has the UltraSync, it's not the model number. Anyway, that's got the timecode generator on it, the Sync 1, I think it's called, on there. So that's got that sync, and that is the master, and that is also being picked up by this guy, the one that's plugged into here. So the ATEM software controller has, the ATEM controller has timecode that is synced up with everything else. And then this camera right here is actually, so my old GH4, which is plugged into a Ninja, and there is timecode running into the YAG on that. So I'm getting timecode and sync on there, which will just make syncing everything up in post nice and easy, which is kind of cool. Anyway, so that's that. Let's go back to the chat and see what else might be going on over there. And we're gonna wrap this thing up. BK42, excellent work in the LUMIX S5 video. Thank you. Simple, clean, and very well done. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. I suppose I should make this window actually a little bit bigger there. It's funny, usually I see my confidence monitors here, but right now, because I'm using the Ninja to record, I've had to reroute a bunch of stuff, and I've got extra display way over there, showing me what's actually being broadcast. But I appreciate that, BK42. Shark says, hello, you got your Panasonic Leica 42.5mm f1.2 Nocticron. Excellent. Man, that is such a sweet lens. Been taking some photos, never had a portrait lens. We'll shoot some video interviews with it soon. Any advice on using this lens? Yes. Do not rely on autofocus for anything fast moving. Stills or video, that lens, because it's a portrait lens, it has a very long focus throw. It is just not designed for fast autofocus. It's fine for a still portrait, right? It'll focus nice and quick for that. But video or fast moving, just don't. It's not going to work out well for you. You can shoot wide open, absolutely no problem whatsoever. You can shoot wide open with that lens, it's sharp all the way to the edge. It's a beautiful, beautiful lens. And of course, you know, why not? You got this f1.2, you want to shoot wide open with it. Other than that, any advice? Yeah, don't drop it. It's too expensive for that. It's a beautiful piece of glass, though. Very, very nice. Definitely that. People saying audio issues when I move away from the boom mic. Oh, Mr. Curley, hello. Yeah, well, that would make sense because there's a boom right here. And if I turn this way, then yeah, I guess that does make some sense. There's that. Okay. Anything else? That's it. That is it. Nothing else going on in here. And I'm getting little streaming errors as well in Facebook. I mean, in YouTube. How annoying. Jason Popov says, does this Belkin dongle work with the AMP to output the MacBook? Oh, A10 Mini Pro to output the MacBook. Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. So if you took this thing and you plug this into, forget about HDR, plug this into a MacBook Pro that's got, you know, just USB-C / Thunderbolt 3 ports on it, absolutely. That is what this is for. In the same regard that the Apple one is the same thing. It is USB-C to HDMI. It's just that this one carries the metadata flags. The Apple one does not. I don't know why. I have the Apple one. It's the same one that you use for the iPad. It does not. Don't get it. But this one does. So get the Belkin one to future-proof yourself for HDR. I think the Apple one's actually cheaper than this, which is insane that just for once something from Apple is cheaper. But maybe that's why, because this one does do the metadata for HDR. It doesn't say anything about HDR on it either. It just does. Supports 4K 60 up to 4096 by 2160. Oh, so it actually supports DCI. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, it does say ideal for high dynamic range video. So you could also use this. Now, so this does work. That's interesting. This does work with the Apple one. If you take the Apple one and you plug that into an iPad and plug that into an HDR TV and you play a video from the Apple TV, whatever, that is an HDR video, actually Dolby 10, Dolby, what do they call it? Not Dolby 10, they call it Dolby something video. That'll show up as Dolby on your TV, which is HDR, but it doesn't work off Mac OS. Maybe Mac OS just has to be updated for it. That'd be odd. Anyway, just buy this one. I know it works. Okay, anything else in the comments? Anything else in here? Shark, you just got here, missed the S5 unboxing, you're holding out for the GH6 announcement. We all know. We know. Shark thinks if he says it over and over again, it'll happen sooner. But we know. Okay, I think that's it. We're going to wrap this thing up. That was fun, guys. I enjoyed showing the HDR thing to you. I know HDR is like this thing that nobody does. Here's the thing. Since I've got this set up now, my intention, I can't promise this, but my intention is to grade all of my videos now in HDR. Oh, and here, okay, one more little thing. I'll use this to wrap this up, and then we're gonna bail out of here. When you do an HDR grade, you have to upload either an HEVC video to YouTube or a ProRes video to YouTube. You can't encode to H.264 because H.264 is only 8-bit and that is not HDR. So it has to be a 10-bit file. So either HEVC or ProRes. ProRes is huge, so that takes a long time to upload. HEVC is really nice and small, but takes forever to encode. So it would really depend on your system. What do you have, a faster computer or a faster internet connection? Is it, you'd want to do your own tests and decide whether, which one you should do. Should you spend potentially hours encoding an H.265 video and then uploading that in 5 minutes, or spend 5 minutes encoding a ProRes video and then spend a couple hours uploading it? So it's just going to depend on your connection and your speed of your computer. But you have to upload one of those to get HDR. Now, once you do that, if you watch it on HDR, it's glorious. If you watch it on a non-HDR screen, then you are seeing an SDR down conversion. And YouTube will automatically convert. YouTube will automatically apply an HDR to SDR, standard dynamic range, LUT. Here's the thing. They have one LUT to rule them all. They have one LUT that is a very generic, works for everything LUT. And, it's okay. But what's better is for you to build your own LUT. And so what you can do, and this is part of when I do the bigger video on this whole thing, I'll show you, you need a tool to create a LUT. Unfortunately, Final Cut Pro doesn't build a LUT natively. You can do it with third-party tools, but the workflow that I have learned is using Resolve, and you can use the free version of Resolve for this. It's totally fine. With Resolve, you bring in your HDR ProRes file. So you export your ProRes from Final Cut, bring that into Resolve, and then you build a HDR to SDR conversion by going through the entire sequence and finding the right balance of pulling the highlights down. Maybe you want to increase saturation some places because you tend to lose a lot in the Rec. 709 conversion. And anyway, you play with the settings, you get the best SDR conversion you can get, which unfortunately is a single LUT for the entire shot, for the entire video. You can't do a shot-by-shot conversion this way. It's just the way it is. So you have to build your own LUT that is good enough for everything. And then you go through a command line, not joking about this, you go through a command line process to combine your ProRes file with that LUT, and you get an MKV file, I think it is, which you then upload to YouTube. And now YouTube uses your LUT instead of its LUT. Maybe one day they'll give us the ability to just upload a LUT. That would be far too easy. But what I really want from YouTube, and this is so easy. I don't know why they don't do this. What I want from YouTube is the ability to upload 2 videos that are the same video, but one in HDR and one in SDR. And then YouTube would obviously deliver to you, the viewing public, whatever video is appropriate. It knows if you're watching it in HDR or not, so it just goes, oh, HDR, here's the HDR version. Oh, SDR, here's the SDR version. That would allow us as the editors to do a totally separate SDR grade where every shot is shot by shot graded. So that video that I just showed you, the Panasonic S5 one, if you look at it on HDR, it's glorious. If you look at it on SDR, it's pretty good, but it's got that generic LUT applied to it. I don't know if Panasonic has uploaded Todd's SDR grade as a separate file, but unfortunately, right now, that's kind of what you have to do. If you want the best SDR possible, you have to upload 2 separate videos and tell your audience, hey, if you're in HDR, watch this one. If you're SDR, watch this one. That sucks. So what YouTube really should do is allow us to do 2 different files. And if you're curious, because I certainly got to be curious, I'm watching like Netflix and you're watching something that's HDR, and of course it's amazing, and you watch an SDR and it looks incredible as well, and you're going, hold on a second, they're doing something different. There's no way they're having to apply a single LUT to everything. Maybe they're doing 2 files. Turns out they're not. It turns out their whole system is completely different than what we do in YouTube, but their mechanism actually allows for a shot-by-shot unique grade for the SDR conversion. It's still one single video file, but it is effectively, it's more complex than this, but it is effectively a shot-by-shot LUT, which is pretty insane. But yeah, unfortunately we don't have that on YouTube. Maybe one day we will. Okay, anything else that came up in the chat? Nothing here. All right, we are going to bail out of here. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. That was fun. Sorry about the snafu in the beginning. We did end up getting a few people watching, which is great, but man, there was nobody here at first, and that's because the show is accidentally private. Oops. All right, that's it. I'm out. I'm going to go re-edit this into something slightly smaller and more tangible. We'll see how that goes. See you later. Bye-bye.